Okay. So well, basically, this is Mr. Abayomi Perez. Is usually called AP. He leads the marketing team, and Mr. Michael. Mr. Michael is basically our business dev and a number of other things that just keeps things moving. So what we're going to be doing in this session is basically to ask a couple of questions, and those questions are going to basically unpack a number of things that maybe you guys would have questions about. For example, now, what does the assembly do? Or what does Innovate Lab do? So a couple of those things, also in relation to what Q2 for us is going to basically look like. So this is going to be you listening to the conversation and basically getting answers to the questions you already have inside of you. Some of those questions you may not have known, but we are going to draw it out. I was about to say somebody say amen. Okay. All right, so first question, I'll go with I'm going to go with AP. So if someone asks you, what exactly does Innovate Lab do? What would you say?
Thank you so much, Richard. Let me start by engaging the audience a bit so that I get a feel of the kind of people we have in the house, which will then guide on how to answer. So with a show of hands, if this is your first time at the assembly, just wave. Or let me like, if you've been at the assembly before, just wave. Awesome, awesome. If you've been at an open house before, just wave a bit. If you've been at an assembly open house before now, at an open house like this.
Be proud, raise your hand up well.
Okay, if this is your first time at an assembly open house, just indicate with a wave of the hand. Awesome. If you've ever asked the question, what is Innovate Lab exactly about, but haven't gotten a sufficient answer? Awesome. Good. So I'm going to do, please, just random polls. I just want to warm the audience. I want people to be able to speak to why you're here today and what you expect to get out of today. Can we do that very quickly? Two very bold people. Why you're here today and what you expect to get out of today. Two very bold people. Don't worry, just dash anybody the mic, they will speak. They're already here, they can't go anywhere. So just introduce yourself, what you do, and like why you're here today and what you expect to get out of here.
Okay, my name is Adigoke RMD. I'm a final year student of Lautech. So
what department?
Electrical engineering. So actually, I'm an aspiring graphic designer. Hopefully, I'm here to connect and meet with you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ayomide, to network and to meet a good people, and then you're into graphic design.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ayomide. One more person. Let's celebrate Ayomide. If you know talk, clap for people at all. Thank you. Dash a lady, a smiling, beautiful young lady in green, a flowery green dress.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Favor. I'm a final year student of Lautech, Food Science Department. So I'm hoping to connect with meaningful people, learn a lot of things through the question and answering, and a lot more. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So to just answer what the Innovate Lab or the assembly?
Innovate Lab.
Okay. What Innovate Lab? To speak to what Innovate Lab is all about, how do I explain this? So you know that many times events like this and gatherings like this would most likely happen in places like Lagos. Yeah? Let me take this angle. If you think about the top 3 biggest startups in Nigeria, where do you think they came from? Let's mention top 3 biggest startups in Nigeria. You said no. Let's mention their name first. Top 3. Money Point 1. Who else? You said Flutterwave. Both of them unicorns. Who else? Paystack, yeah? Good. Now, all unicorns, all of them fintech, where did they emerge from? Lagos, yeah? Awesome. Now, if you also think about their founders, and where they most likely started from. Where do you think they started from? We mentioned Paystack, we mentioned Flutterwave, and we mentioned what? MoneyPoint. So I'll tell you, Paystack, for example, the two co-founders of Paystack finished from Babcock University. And that relationship started from the university in Babcock. Yeah, that's one. Someone like Inyaboeji, who was co-founder with GB for Flutterwave, he started a startup in university I think when he was back in Canada. Before then, he started Flutterwave and all of that. So first of all, we've established that the major startups in Nigeria will be centered around Lagos. Yeah, and we've also been able to establish that a lot of these people who come out to create and build startups started from university. But then the question you now ask is that if you're not in Lagos, if your university is not in Lagos, what happens if your university is in a place like Ubumosho? What happens if your university is in a place like Oshobo? What happens if your university is in a place like Isheyin, or in a place like Kaduna, or in a place like Kano or Zaria? Places that is not Lagos, Abuja, or Port Harcourt, where it looks like the major things are happening. And that is the core thesis behind Ennovate Lab. Ennovate Lab wants to transform underserved communities like Ogbomosho through technology, through entrepreneurship, and through placemaking. So Ennovate Lab is all about making happen within places like Ogbomosho, taking advantage of the university community there, empowering the people that live in those communities, and working with them, creating programs, creating interactions that help them become people that create things that change the world, even if they are not in a place as big as Lagos and Port Harcourt or other key cities around the country. So that's like the mind behind Ennovate Lab, yeah? But in the academic sense of things, if they ask us, what is Ennovate Lab about in one sentence? We say, oh, we transform underserved university communities through entrepreneurship, through technology, and through placemaking. Maybe on that question will help me explain what placemaking looks like.
That felt like a good place to clap. Just
Who is the first person that say he has asked? Somebody said they have asked about what Ennovate Lab is all about. Did that give you like a basic understanding of what Ennovate Lab is all about? Are you sure? So can you play it back to me? Let's do practical.
All right, sir. So my definition of what I got from what you were saying is much of a place where people get developed, right, in intellect, in social networking, and others. So that's how I can define it.
awesome. So the development includes the things that we do, which, as AP has also said, it's basically all of the intellectual things. It's gets what the fact that we'll basically be transforming the underserved communities like Ogbomoso. And the way we do that is to use technology, entrepreneurship, and what? Placemaking to realize that. Thank you very much, AP. So building off of that particular question, I mean, AP spoke about Lagos and things like this happening in all of those kind of big cities. Now, there is the assembly. What makes you, and this question is directed to, what makes you, I mean, also align with this vision? What have you seen in Ogbomoso that basically makes you believe that powerful things can also come out of here? Because, I mean, it's an assumption that you're also saying because you also believe in that. We've seen the fact that there's all of these things that happen in Lagos. So, what would you say makes you actually believe that some of those realities that we see in all of those other big cities can also happen here in the city of Ogbomoso?
Okay. So I think I'll start this way. So if you look at the city of Ogbomoso and then you look at Lagos, right? One of the things that you will see here is, I mean, in Ogbomoso, you would notice that an average Ladokite has that spirit of entrepreneurship. An average Ladokite has that hunger in them. What differentiates somebody here in Lautech or somebody in Ogbomoso here and somebody in Lagos is the hunger that is in them. There is this hunger to, I mean, want more, want to do more, and this kind of hunger is something that you are likely not to see in the big cities, in places like Lagos, places like Port Harcourt, Abuja, that have access to all these opportunities. But one thing that differentiates people from Ogbomoso and people from Lagos is the access to opportunities. And I believe that the great things that are happening there, right, can also happen here with the right opportunities unlocked for people in this town. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody. So I don't know if I should also answer this question because one of the things, just like Abayomi mentioned, one thing that Ennovate Lab does is to transform underserved communities, right? And one of how that meets together, I mean, there is a hunger in people, but there is also a gap. How that transformation comes is to bring that opportunity down to people so that when you have that opportunity, then you can properly utilize that hunger. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I'm thinking you would also just pick up from there. So trying to unlock this whole thing that you said, it's an assumption that that's basically why the assembly is here. So how is the assembly attempting to unlock that?
How is the assembly attempting to work?
To unlock the possibilities that we see. So the replication of the things that already happen in Lagos. Because, okay, let's even start from here. We are assuming that the assembly is more than a venue. It's basically designed to also support the aim of Ennovate Lab, basically to transform this underserved city. How is the assembly unlocking this transformation within the city?
Okay, I think I will go the route of first. I'll go the route of AP just to ask people a question. Maybe I'd like one or two people to give me answers. What do you know about the assembly? What does the assembly really stand for? I know quite a lot of people have, I mean, almost everyone seated here have heard about the assembly, but what do you know the assembly actually does? There's a reason for asking that question. Do you have anybody want to answer? There is Ennovate Lab, there is the assembly. So what understanding do you have about the assembly? You have heard about the assembly many times.
Good evening, everyone. From what I understood about the assembly, it houses geniuses across the landscape of Ogbomoso.
Thank you very much. Another person, I mean, just like they said, dash anyone you like.
Also, understanding, I think you can help people to create things. Actually,
Okay, thank you very much. A round of applause. So the reason why I asked that question is, I mean, an average person you meet on the road, when you ask them what the assembly does, what they tell you is they rent out spaces. Does that look like what you have heard from people? All right, but the assembly is much more than that. So the assembly is an enabler. The assembly is not a place where you just come to rent space and then you sit in. It's a place where you come to become something in it, right? It is much more than you coming to have access to power, electricity, and internet. It is the community that we are building. The assembly is putting structures together to ensure that people who, just like I mentioned the other time, they have the ability, but what is missing is the access to opportunities. But what the assembly essentially is doing, beyond the space that you come to rent, beyond the space, beyond the electricity, power that you have access to, what the assembly is doing is to take away the barriers that you have and then move you from where you are currently to where you are heading to. So it is much more beyond, oh, I want to rent a space. I want to do my work. I need power. I need electricity. No. If that's the case, people can go inside the school and use electricity and then maybe use free internet, right? But what the assembly stands for is to enable people in this community, just like you mentioned, underserved communities, right? To be able to have access to opportunities. So what people essentially lack structure and exposure. And one of the key things that the assembly is doing is to bring those two close. We take away the barriers and then we help you access that exposure and then also help you create structure around what you do. Does that make sense?
Round of applause, please.
Can I just contribute to that? Excellent, the things that Michael has shared. There's something that you said that stood out to me about the fact that the assembly is the place, Number one, he said assembly is an enabler. Number two, that the assembly is a place where you come to become. Yeah, and that's very key. And I'll give you like just a few examples. Yeah. Again, beyond the space is about the possibilities that exist in every square inch of the assembly and the possibilities that exist in every conversation, every communication, every interaction, and every person you meet within the assembly. I'll give you very few examples. A lady just went out. I've seen how she went out. I met her, I think, a few Saturdays ago, a couple of Saturdays ago. She's a medical student at Boeing University, and we just got talking. And then she tells me, I'm into medicine, but I'm trying to see how I can fuse medicine and art together. And I'm like, oh, I know Iniolua James. She was going to attend a fellowship, a medical fellowship, where they were practicing officially how art is deployed to hasten patient recovery. Like there was a science to it, and like I just made that connection happen. I was speaking to Angela Olua the other day at the kitchenette, and we're eating. I just asked her, "What are you currently working on?" I say, "Oh, I'm working on this app that is trying to combat drug non-adherence. Like when people don't take the drug the way they're supposed to take it." I'm like, "Oh, I met XYZ person at ABC place. I think you should meet him and you speak together." Tolu has a mentee that he's mentoring, and then that mentee is a secondary school student, and he was just doing his own thing here when somebody walked in, and they started talking. Still in secondary school, but got his first job to serve as a video editor, even as a secondary school person. So it's about beyond the space. First of all, the space challenges your mind. It gives you exposure, yeah, to be able to think differently, yeah, because it looks different from what your environment looks like today, yeah. But also, I wanted to add that what will differentiate the assembly from just any other workplace is about the possibilities that happen in every interaction, every conversation, and everything that happens, both intentional and unintentional.
You guys should be feeling the moments.
I'd like to quickly make just within maybe 10, 15 seconds. So if you look at the logo here, you would see that it speaks of a convergence. And then when you come, everybody meets at a point. And then that point, what it essentially signifies is that there is a rubbing of minds together, right? So you come in as somebody who has challenges, who has barriers, who has hurdles to cross. And then when you meet, just like he has rightly explained, I mean, those three examples are perfect explanation of what this place represents, right? Beyond the space, it's a place where you meet people, and then they help you, they hold your hands, while you also hold others' hands to become what they need to become. I mean, that's just simply it. And then once you become what you do, I mean, you also go outside of the community to now begin to shape your immediate environment. That's essentially what we represent. Thank you.
Richard, I'm so sorry, please. Just one commentary on that. Because what I was thinking in my head is, while we give you this information, what should you do with this information? Yeah? What difference does knowing this do to you? I'm going to give an example and I'm going to say something, yeah? Some of the relationships that I'm currently profiting from greatly today came because of a program that I did where I was together with some of the best minds I've ever seen in Nigeria, 21 of us in one place for about a year, learning for our postgraduate, yeah? And then that relationships has bettered like a lot. Somebody will see stuff and say, oh, I think this will be needful to you, this will be needful to your hub, or will apply for stuff, and this person will tell them that, I saw in our office right now, your name has entered here, and they are like fighting our case and pushing it forward and all of that, yeah? All of those things, like this room, this hub, represents all of that I'm speaking about. But how do you take advantage of it? For example, when you come to work at the assembly, yeah, you don't just sit at your laptop and work and leave. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You start conversations. You try to figure out. Sometimes I could just come, we work from upstairs, but sometimes I could come downstairs and maybe I want to go and use the restroom, and I'm walking down and I randomly just meet somebody and I start a conversation, and I'm just trying to find out what their story is, because possibilities exist there. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? There's a project I'm doing right now that influences about 24 African countries. And that was possible because I met someone at a Dev Fest event and we spoke. I collected his phone number. We didn't speak for like 2 years until one day suddenly he posted something on his status. And I said, this looks like me. Like, this looks custom made for me. And I applied and I got in. It is that kind of possibility. It is what makes you say that there's an event and then you come for the event and you don't just sit at the event, and throughout the event, you don't say hello to the person sitting beside you or the other person. You engage and you get to meet people because that's where the magic happens. Yeah. It is what makes you say that, oh, I could actually go any other place and work and I will maybe have free internet or light and all of that. But I would rather want to pay at least 3,000 naira once a week to come and use the space. Yeah. Because there's possibility that exists within it. It's what makes you say that, oh, there's a program going on. I'm going to pay. Where are the WIP fellows? Where are the WIP fellows? Would you, so you respond with a yay or a nay. Would you pay again to come do WIP? Yay or nay? Did you hear that? It is what makes you say that there's a paid program going on. It's going to cost me, but it's going to allow me exposure to the environment and the people that are there. I'm going to go all the way for it. So as you receive this information, the question will now be, what do I do with this information? What are the active ways I can begin to engage to make the best? See that, like Mr. Michael said, that Richard said that, like several programs that we have for the rest of the year that is going to be a blessing to people in Ogumosho. We're happy for people in Ogumosho whenever we sit and talk about the programs that we hit Ogumosho this year, right? Yeah. But it's not just enough for those opportunities to exist. Like Michael said, you have to come and you have to engage. Yeah. And don't just come having a need every time. Also come with, I have something that I need, but I also have something to give. That is where the connection happens. That's where the magic happens. Yeah.
Amazing. You have already answered the question I want to ask as the closing question. So
So maybe we should just continue
so
to speak.
yeah, so because we'll need to wrap the session up in like 2 minutes. So I'll just let you both say your final words with regards to the question that I was supposed to use to ask you as the final question. I've used it already. So you can basically, what is that? Maybe if they would like to can answer a variation of this question in addition to you wrapping up, is so there are people here today and with all that we've shared now, and they're thinking, how do I basically plug in, right? How do I then plug in? I know they just come and yeah, but what's your own response to that basic question? So they are here, we've said all of this now. How do you think, bless you, I think it's the space, it was designed for, can't hold the greatness. Yeah, awesome. So we basically want you to, with your last words, for us at the open house, yeah, how would you recommend that the here today and going forward can plug into what we're doing at the Ennovate Lab, to what we're doing at the assembly? So that's the question that you both. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the best way for me to answer this question, encourage you with this, which is opportunities lies in best opportunity that you can get lies in your community, the community that you belong. For example, I mean, we're put together these open house together, and one of the reasons why we put open house together is for you to come see what is going on, come learn, but most importantly, you relate with the next person beside you, not necessarily the person seated beside you, just like you mentioned. The funny thing is that it might be that the first job you get outside of Lautech, person seated beside you would help you get it, but only if you connect. And this is one of the things that we offer here at the assembly, which you don't even have to pay for. Let me give you. Let me tell you this. I mean, it's not a story. I can't remember one person now, but this is what I want to say. You would have heard of meetings or programs or trainings that they would charge people for, and then you see the price tag, they say 350,000. At times you see $2,000 and all of those pricing, and then you're like, what are they teaching them, right? But you will see people paying for it. Trust me, some people already know what is to be taught, But the reason why they are paying for that program is because of the networking, the community that they will belong. I mean, I've heard of people who paid for a training or a program, and then they met with a senator's son, and that senator's son helped them get a contract that their company was working towards, had been working towards for a long time, right? What I'm saying is that the next opportunity that you need lies in the community that you belong. And how you can plug into that is, I mean, we have quite a number of programs, opportunities that are coming in. First, I think you need to, I mean, if you haven't joined our community, we have a QR code at the reception. You can always just scan and join. We have a lot of opportunities that are coming up. Tomorrow morning, there is, I mean, I believe it's going to mention it. There is a workout session coming up. People sign deals over workout sessions. People get their next pay over workout sessions, right? So my advice again is that word: opportunities lies in the community that you belong. It's not just you having the money. It's that community is going to fetch you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Michael. My final words in this regard will be intentionality. And it will be intentionality about what is the spirit of the Ogbomoso community. How many of you have ever said, God forbid, I will not stay back in Ogbomoso? Or let me start on there.
Look at that smile. Look at that
Hold on,
smile.
hold on.
Look at that smile.
Hold on. How many of you came to Lautech and Ogbomoso reluctantly? Awesome. How many of you were in a place where you couldn't wait to jump out from this place? The spirit of the Ogbomoso community is the fact that we are a breed of people who do not believe that green pastures exist in other places. We believe that green pastures can be created right from where we are. We believe that the places that we look up to and we say, I like to go these places, we believe, and we don't just believe, it is a fact that those places were built by people. A modern day example would be a place like Dubai. Yeah, Dubai. Practically a desert, but one man's vision was able to convert that place from a desert into a global hub. Yeah, there's this movie called The Men That Built America. I don't know if you've seen that movie before. That is a movie to do the weekend with. It's like a 3-part series, solid series. Go and watch it. The Men That Built America. So the spirit of the Ogbomoso community is that we can build things from here that looks and that even outpaces the things that people look outside and say they want to go there and do. Yeah? And the good part of staying here and building is that you're a pioneer. It doesn't matter how big or small your vision looks, it is possible from this place. It's either you're pioneering your vision or you are supporting someone who is actively doing something. But the key thing to see there is that you don't have to be a consumer. You can become a creator of the kind of reality. Yeah? And this is the final thing I will say before I leave. Our CEO, Mr. JD, he travels the world. Yeah? And someone asked him one day, and he said, how many of you have been outside the country before? Okay. How many of you have been to a very chill place that was better than the place you usually stay? Good. How many of you went to that place and you wished not to come back to the place where you were?
Go.
You know, I used to have a rich uncle in Port Harcourt, yeah? And one of my cousins was staying with him because her father was late. So another of my cousin that had her parents alive now came to do holiday at this my uncle's place. That one of my nephews was there. One of my cousins was there, because her father was late. So when it was time to go back home, the lady now said, "Small girl, should I say, I wish my own father can die too." Material enjoyment. so, so what brought me here? Good. So they were asking Mr. JD that. So that feeling of you travel outside the country and you see beautiful things, and when it's time to go back to Nigeria, you're like, oh my god, like back to the trenches. But he said he never has that feeling because whenever he's outside of Nigeria and he sees stuff outside of Nigeria, he doesn't think, and I'm a global talent, I can just move my family here and blow. He thinks, how can I take what I see here and make them possible in the place I'm coming from? That is the spirit of the community in Ogbomosho. That intentionality to build impossible things right from where we are, to be intentional about, to see yourself as a stakeholder, to see that you have something to contribute in that regard. That intentionality is what makes a difference. I feel like sharing one last example, please.
One last example. Thank you.
Companies like SQI, everybody sees SQI and they celebrate it today, yeah? Everybody sees Ennovate Lab, for example. By the way, Ennovate Lab wasn't always like this. It started like a 3-bedroom flat.
We shall see soon.
We shall see soon, yeah? Good. So is that intentionality to believe that my vision, no matter how small, no matter how, and this is not even motivational thinking, that if God has put a dream in my heart to stay in a place and I build, and by the way, it's easier to build today than it was to build 8 years ago because there's now a community to support you. But if God has put a dream in my heart to say, stay here and build, even if it doesn't look like it, if I obey God to do that, that stuff is going to flourish. And it's going to become things that people from over the world are going to come travel down to want to see. That is the spirit of the Ogomosho mindset. Thank you so
round of
much.
applause. A round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And with that, we've come to the end of this segment. Thank you very much, Mr. Michael. Thank you very much, the AP. Awesome. And for those of us that are just